Welcome! E aí, galera, beleza? Bem-vindo à nossa comunidade.
Welcome to our community.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is OGC here. Today we have a awesome video coming at you. We are going to be looking at the new awakened troops for Category 1, which includes swords for Rockin, spears for human, miners for dwarf, etc. So before we fully jump into this, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps us out a lot here at OGC. Subscribe if you have not subscribed already. And in the description of this video, there are a bunch of useful links. Feel free to check them out if you want to support the channel. Anyways, I'm going to give you my first impressions on all of these new awakenings. Granted, they are not out yet. I have not been able to test them. So please take it for what it is. These are my first impressions. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And what better way to kick all this off than starting with Rockin? So the first one that we have for Rockin is the Zen Swords. So the Zen Swords have Vampire Blade, and for the first 40 seconds of the battle, damage dealt by basic attacks and their ale grant 70% self-healing. So essentially, what that means is, for the first 40 seconds of the battle, Rockin Swords will have a really high self-healing. Imagine you're playing League of Legends and you have lifesteal. This is going to be on the troops. This is, I think this one's either going to be amazing or just kind of lackluster. And it actually might be really good for the garrison, actually. So why it might be lackluster is Samurai is really, they're really good tanks. They're really good tanks in the way that they deal their damage. Is there's just so many of them. It's like a Zerg army. I'd be interested to see how much damage they actually deal to heal themselves. So I think that's one thing that we'll have to keep an eye on. If and only if they can deal enough damage where they actually heal themselves, then it could be very good. Otherwise, I think that this might be best for the garrison, since you don't have to activate the ability, and garrison troops naturally have way higher health and attack. So let's jump into the Dire Swords for Rockin. The Dire Swords for Rockin offer a 30% bonus range and 50% bonus damage for their ale. So I have a feeling that if the human meta continues at all, which honestly the best thing out there for whales right now is Sylph or Lich. If the massive amounts of units on the battlefield continue, which includes humans, you're going to have a lot, or say Lich with lots of skeletons, or say you're fighting another Rockin, something like that. I think that the Dire Rockin Swordsmen are going to be more superior because the Rockin Swordsmen already tank very well. So offering them actual damage, giving them 30% bigger range, 50% more damage, that could be huge. But for the garrison, the Vampire one, or the Zen, definitely stands out to me. So next, if we jump over to Sylph, we will see the Zen Huntresses. The Zen Huntresses blesses a random back rank ally with 40% bonus attack speed while the Huntress is alive, and 40% damage mitigation when the Huntress dies. Each ally can receive only one blessing. So my questions for this is, does that include heroes? Because getting 40% bonus attack speed on Mako, I will take that all day long. My second question is this per pack of Huntresses or per Huntress themselves? So if it's per pack of Huntress and it affects one whole pack behind it, that could be huge. If that's the case, I think that using the Zen Huntresses, you'll want that first front line with three packs of Huntresses, followed up by trees, and then either Shroom Lords or Archers behind that. However, it really depends on how the Stag Song works. If it's per Huntress and it's a 1-to-1, it could lose some value simply because one pack of archers will require like two packs of huntresses to fully buff each individual archer. So I think that the Zen Huntress is awesome. This is probably the one that I would use, but I'm interested to see how it actually works in the game. So I would keep your eyes on this, but those buffs, 40% attack speed increase, and then when it dies, 40% damage mitigation. Those are some significant boosts. So it doesn't actually help out the Zen Huntress too much. It helps out the allies. Next, we will jump in and take a look at the Dire Huntress. So the Dire Huntress is going to be more of your offensive type. It reduces the cooldown of Glaive by 40% and causes it to deal area damage while evasion is active. So, the reason why the Glaive is so important is it reduces enemy damage by 40% for 2 seconds, and it also deals damage based on max health. So, if you are going up, say, against Rockin swords or humans, this will now make it so that one Huntress doesn't just reduce damage from one individual swordsman. Now one Huntress can pretty much negate a little area around them. That's huge because the main point of a Huntress, in my opinion, I don't see them being the main damage dealers. But not only are they tanky, not only do they have evade, not only do they have Lunella to increase the evade, but they reduce the damage of enemies. So I think that the Zen ones could be really good, depending on how that works out. But the Dire ones overall will reduce the enemy damage if they're running a lot of melee. So against Rockin swords, I think that this will be huge because it will significantly cut down on their damage. Feel free to let me know in the comment section, guys, which ones of all of these you'd prefer. Next, we jump in. We got the humans. Oh man, I'm still on the human train. We have the Zen Spearmen. So the Zen Spearmen, their basic attacks grant them bonus moral. When above 50% health, moral decay speed is decreased by 60%. So essentially, the more that the spears attack, the more moral they'll get. That will lead into moral boosts or prevent them from having a moral collapse. The second portion, which is well above 50% health, moral decay speed is decreased by 60%. That might be enough to counterbalance Gazul. But I think that if the Zen spears, or spears in general, stick around long enough and take enough damage, their moral is still going to collapse. However, with these Zen spearmen, what could happen now is as long as they're constantly poking with their spears, they might be able to maintain moral far longer than before. And if they can get moral chain after moral chain after moral chain to get that bonus attack speed, to get that bonus damage mitigation, this could be huge for spears. I am looking forward to trying out these Zen spearmen. I actually ventured out from just using my chakra on swords and archers so I could level up spears, just to try this out. However, we also have the dire spears. So for the dire spears, what they do is they throw their javelin at the start of the battle, and it does 1.5% of the target's max health in true damage. So they'll hit and it's going to do all of that damage. There's no damage mitigation. It also gives them a 10% chance that the enemy struck by the javelin will suffer a laceration injury, reducing their healing efficiency by 90% for the first 30 seconds. Those effects do not stack. So my first impression with this is they pretty much get a overpowered javelin throw right at the start. Could this be the counter that humans need for trees? I honestly don't know. I really don't know if that's enough. If you have, say, 30 spears and they all somehow unload into 2 trees, then I mean, Is that enough? I don't know. It will be interesting to see. I have a feeling that for me, what I would like to try out is Zen Spearmen when I'm doing PvP or doing stuff in the world. But for my garrison, uh, having the Dire Spearmen to initially do the throw, followed up by Dire Templars, could be really strong. Not sure, but this is definitely one to keep an eye on and to try out. Now we'll jump over and check out the Lich. So the Zen Stalker grants a bonus effect to Curse Blade, causing attacks to increase the target's magic damage taken by 2% to a maximum of 40%. This is huge, absolutely huge. I don't see a timer on this, so I don't think that the Curse Blade, I don't think it runs out. Once those stacks start building up, they're there for the rest of the fight. I think with the new hero coming out to also reduce the enemy's magic resist, this might be a way for Lich Spiders to all of a sudden become wicked powerful. The Warlocks to make a comeback because the Warlocks are getting a buff as well. The Fire Mage against trees, if the Stalkers could live long enough to get enough attacks in. But this one I would keep an eye on because that is massive. Now the dire version of the Stalkers, they will survive for an extra 3 seconds after receiving killing blow. So if you kill this Stalker, it's going to stick around for an extra 3 seconds. Again, I think that the Zen is better in the sense of PvP and or doing stuff in the real world. But for your garrison, I think the Dire is amazing. You just bought 3 extra seconds at defending your wall. That's huge. So let's jump over to Dwarf. Dwarf definitely got the... Can't even say it with a straight face. Dwarf got the coolest and most unique buffs out of everybody. So for the Dwarfs, we have the Dire Engineers. So the Dire Engineers, their attacks plant a bomb on the target, exploding after 8 seconds, or when the target is hit by a headshot. Explosions deal a percent of the target's max health and burning damage. Each target can only have 1 bomb placed on it at a time. I don't know how good this is going to be. They don't give us any information on how much of a percent of the max health. This seems like a way to deal with trees, but it's either going to be 8 seconds, which during a PvP match is a very long time, guys. 8 seconds is a very long time, or they have to get headshotted. So I really don't know how I feel about this, but let's jump into the Zen Engineers because maybe they're better. So the Zen Engineers have Pincer Bomb. Well, they have their armor on. Their attacks have a 20% chance to release a small pyro pincer effect that plants a bomb on each enemy within a frontal cone. Bombs planted when the target has been attacked 5 times by ammo users deal explosive damage to enemies in a small range. Each enemy can only have 1 bomb planted at a time. So pretty much the Zen version is they plant a bomb, you have to have blasters or something hit that individual 5 times, and then they'll blow up. I'd be interested to know, since Jax is a ammo user, if that would work. Because it doesn't say units, it just says ammo user. So maybe with Jax, if that even works, I don't think it does, but it doesn't say that it doesn't. We'll have to test that out. But it seems like the Dire Engineers are set up to chop down the forest or kill trees for the Sylph. And it seems like the Zen Engineers are set up to kill big packs of stuff, say Rockin or Lich or humans. I think that these are both so similar yet so different. I don't think they're enough. What I would have liked to see is something to offer more defense to the actual engineers. The planting the bombs and then relying on the other troops to do the damage, and that's the Dwarfs' bane to their existence. Is it's very, very hard to keep your backline alive as Dwarf. If your snipers and blasters were able to stick around longer in the fights and not just run away when Jax is double charge starts hitting the back line and peppering them a little bit, maybe it could work out. But I just don't see the Dwarf Engineers getting a significant buff. If anything, the dire ones with the headshots might be good against trees. Other than that, I really don't think Dwarf got too much out of this. So anyways, guys, that's my initial first thoughts on the new Awakened troops. It will be fun to test this out, and I highly encourage you guys to do as much testing on your own and stay involved in the OGC community chat for more information. Check out Discord to get more up-to-date information as well, and we can do all this testing together and find out what works and what doesn't. So with that, guys, make sure that you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.